The industry's hurting right now, ladies and gentlemen. We have the rise of international films all across the world. Countries are stepping up. And in the United States, well, there's not as much work and opportunity as there used to be in film and TV. So you have a lot of people hurting. Actors, filmmakers, crew, even representatives. I mean, there's so many people that are hurting right now in this industry that not a lot of people are talking about. So what happens? What do we do? How do we survive this? How do we cope? Well, my next guest, we're going to talk about that and so much more as we go beyond the take. What is up, everyone? It is me, actor, producer, and host of the show Beyond the Take, Marc Chouen. Ladies and gentlemen, today I am joined by a lovely friend of mine. We hit it off right away after meeting at the Chelsea Film Festival. She is fierce, she is talented, she's an actress, producer herself, and a businesswoman. Marcia Lopez, what is up?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh no, of course, girl. I feel like it's been a year now since we've met
It
officially.
happened October. Well, almost.
October. Oh,
Yeah, almost
almost,
a year.
almost, almost.
A
Less
year
than a
ago.
year. But my God, I feel like we bonded so fast. It
It
was
was
at the
so
Chelsea Film
well.
Festival. Yeah, yeah. And like I remember it was like the final night, right? And like I
Yeah.
feel like it was my daughter and my wife got sick. I had to go home pretty fast, but like we talked for like 5 minutes and I don't know what happened in that 5 minutes, but man, we really hit it off.
We really did. And I mean, I think it was also, during these events, you usually meet so many people and you get like caught in the gist of it. But we were just very authentic and we are the kind of people that come as they are. So I think that also helped. It's like, okay, yeah, what you see is what you get. And we could see right through that right away. So.
Yeah, and like seriously, you do so much, right? I want to get right into your journey pretty much because I just find it fascinating. Um, so me and you, we know, but for the audience, they don't know. You are not from the United States, so tell us where are you from originally, and what brought you out here?
Of course. So I was born in Uruguay in South America. It's right below, for people who don't know, it's below Brazil and next to Argentina. Population of 3.5 million people, approximately. And I had already started in aviation before, as private, starting to become a private pilot and then become a flight attendant for Emirates. And then I just came to the US a couple years later. I think I landed here when I was 24, and worked in different industries. But I was always like, the first year that I got here was the year that I went back to acting, which is something that I was already doing in Dubai when I was living there. And I started in theater when I was a teenager, and coming from a family of musicians and just being influenced so heavily by the arts. I've always loved movies, and I grew up being so compelled by them because I'm an only child, and I also really use that to pass the time and could really empathize with the people and their stories, and especially horror films. That had always been like my fascination was always horror films, and I just really wanted. I ended up being an empath, and especially with Samara. And I was talking about this with a friend today. It's like films like The Ring. Like you wouldn't really feel any particular way for somebody who just kills people after 7 days of
Meanwhile,
flight.
you're like, she's so misunderstood. You.
But I did, and like little things like that. And I was like, okay, I think it's so important to see people for who they are, and then I think the main thing was like understanding where they're coming from, um, and then that shaped my curiosity to just have a better understanding of humanity and pursued a degree in psychology, and that applies to acting every day, to business, to relationships, and I think it's so important. Um, Everything is
Yeah,
so polarized.
you have so many cool things going on there that I don't even know which way to dive in here. So, you talk about flight attendant, being an actor, producer, you love for horror and psychology, like all mixed together. Um, So let's dive into. So you fell in love with films and with acting pretty much in Dubai. What gravitated to you in towards acting in Dubai specifically? What was going on over there?
Honestly, so when I was 14, I started doing theater. And fast forward, when I was 21, I moved to Dubai. My goal was to become a commercial pilot. And then I realized I didn't like that lifestyle. I didn't really want to be in three continents a week. And I was trying to figure out, okay, what do I do now? Because like it's like I don't understand, like what am I here for now, you know? Because that was the whole idea behind moving to Dubai. And I remember one night I had a dream, which is an epiphany. And I just remember putting my right foot on the stage. And it took me back to like when I had done stage at 14, 15. And I woke up and I said, I'm going back to acting. And there
Mm.
was no going back. And it's so interesting because even today, I went back to watching a lot of like horror films, which is my first passion. That's why I'm also talking about it now. And it's so interesting like how we sometimes want to fit into a certain mold because that will conform to other people's expectations of us. And sometimes all the information that you needed was already paved decades back when you were a child, and that shaped you and that resonated with you back then. And I see how this keeps resonating with me now. It's so strong, it is so grounded, it is so loud. And just going back to acting was no brainer. I knew that it was going to be difficult. I know that English is not my first language. I know that I had a lot to learn, not only from the craft, but also, especially because I hadn't gotten any film training. I had gotten training in theater. I
So
got
different. So different.
so different. I'm
Yeah.
very expressive, as you can see. I am very expressive. And it's like it's so like loud and big.
Has
So
nothing to do with just theatrical. That's also the Latino blood as well. I have that
it's so
as
enigmatic, and I love it that way. I also come from a country and a culture that, we express what we think, we say what we want, we take care of each other, and but we're also like very vocal about how we feel about the people around us. So that was never an issue, and but also like a lot of that had to do with me just being I think, yes, I'm an actor. I think it's more like I'm a performer. Is it like through dance, is it through singing? It's more about performing than anything else, and expressing and trying to feel understood. Don't you think
yeah.
that people just really want to feel understood?
At the end of the day, I mean, yeah, I think you know what it is like with any realm in the arts. It's just really expressing yourself in your thoughts and your feelings of how you want to get it out, and whether it's through acting or directing or writing, dancing, painting, like it's just your way of expressing yourself. Um, and that's what makes it beautiful, I mean, like it's a common thread in this podcast has been like, the talk of AI and like, and how, there's the threat of it taking the artist's jobs. And while that's real, I mean, I express my own concerns about it, but at the end of the day, it really can't replace the human soul. And that's what we have. It's going to try to. It's going to. It would. I feel like never before in human history have we had a fight for our soul before with technology. But man, good luck to the machine, man. If you can try to replicate that, then we're completely fucked. But I don't think it can ultimately. It could try, it can get close, but I don't think it can do it.
Interesting. I completely understand. It's been very eye-opening because I'm also my circle, like my friend circle, is also like in the tech and AI industries, and I've learned so much about their vision, and it's so different than what I hear people in entertainment, vocalize, which is like, yeah, there's nothing is going to shape the human force like the way that we have done. Like nothing is going to emulate that. I think it's more about simplifying. And I just really wonder, I think something that really, another thing that we were talking about today, it's like I think it's important to use the tools that we have to facilitate the process of storytelling. Because at the end
Hmm.
of the day, we're storyteller, we are storytellers, and there's a lot of people who can influence us pushing a story forward. Whether it's, for example, from a financial perspective, like getting investors involved with a project that you're passionate about, that you know it's going to create a lot of impact. And I do think that AI can facilitate the process of, okay, who is a person that could help us push this project forward, and
Right.
how can AI bring out the information that they need to make this investment. And I think like that, I think that's a good perspective to have, especially
Yeah.
because we are the creators here. Like, everybody has a different skill set, everybody in this world has a different role. um you know what you came here to do. At least I have an understanding, and I can say that I think I know what you came here to do and what your purpose is. Everybody has a different purpose, and I think if we can if we can see what it is that unites us, it's going to be a lot easier to understand, like, why are we putting so much time and energy onto something that, could.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think the concern is, the CEOs of studios getting greedy, and not necessarily thinking of like, hey, this is going to affect, the product here. They're just focusing on, oh, how can we get this out faster and cheaper, which
Mhm,
would be AI. And we might see that. We might see some of that, but I think there would be a pushback at some point, probably sooner rather than later.
mhm.
Just from the audience, like, hey, man, like, I'm not into this, or hey, that's crap. That's just pure crap. Like, I'm not going to see that. And then they'll have no choice but to go back.
Mhm.
And then also, like, with indie filmmaking and theater, like, there's just really no killing, like,
We're here to
the
stay.
artistic spirit. You can't kill it, man, because guess what? It's in us. It's in us, right? Like, how many of us have? I'm sure at one point, you thought, "Hey, man, like, I should probably quit. Like, this is not going anywhere." But you can't. Like,
You always go
it's
back to zero. It's like, I know. Trust me, I know. Our lives would be a lot easier if we didn't have this fire for
right.
storytelling in
It's
in
like it's
the way
in
that we
us.
do.
So, like, we're gonna find a way to do it. Hey, it might take longer to like, get to our ultimate goal at this point with all these things going against us, but we're still gonna do it.
Mhm.
There's still avenues to do it. Like, hell, it's easier now more than ever. Look at the cell phone in my hand. Like, films are literally being shot on that. So the power is really in our control more than ever.
More than ever. We have so much authority, and I think this is why you also produce and why I produce, because there's so many things that you also learn along the way, because it's no longer about the old days. And I wasn't here for most of it. You were here for a lot.
Oh yeah.
You know what it was like, and even in your own journey, like when you decided to go full time on acting, the rules of the game were different, and we adapt. That's what we do, and we have.
We have, it is an interesting time right now because it's not just like one thing, right? I always say it's kind of like this, like, you have five perfect storms emerging at once over this industry right now. And like, no one knows what's going on. No one from any level. If someone says like, "Hey, I have the solution to this. I know exactly what's going on there," they're lying to you. They're just trying to make a buck off you, because any credible person that I know in this industry, whether it's a producer, whether it's a representative, whether it's exec, whether it's an actor in a higher level, like, they are all saying the same thing. This is so fucked right now. I've never seen this before. I've never seen this before. It's the common theme, right? So we just gotta go with the tide and figure it out. I think that's really the case here. And a lot of people are doing that in their own way.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, it's also about the idea that we have of success.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, totally. Yeah.
that can hinder your process and your progress too, because what is success anymore, as an artist, and
Well,
there's
that's changed, I think.
that changes. I mean, that's different from for everybody, of course, but also we're here for the long game. And I mean, people who are in the industry, they know, like, nothing is overnight. uh,
No.
And you know how they say, like, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success, and you keep pushing and you keep creating. It's so important to not let go of the craft, to have a good balance of it, between what the craft requires for you to have your muscle, and because your body is your instrument. So just to keep it moving, keep training it, keep living life, keep bringing those experiences into your psyche, and then whenever you get a script that resonates with you, it's like, oh yeah, because I went through this, because you allowed yourself to also live. And I think it's also important to define success and understand that it takes time. Like,
It
this is
does. It does.
we don't have a
And
corporate ladder. Like, this is, you might get lucky one day and you meet somebody who's looking for somebody who wants to cast exactly someone exactly like you, and wonderful. That might happen tomorrow, that might happen in 15 years, or maybe
right.
never.
Or, you might want to create something yourself, right? There's a story that resonates with you during your journey, and you write it, you create it, or you work with someone to create it. And next thing you know, that's getting to film festivals, and that's how you get noticed. Like my first guest, my friend B Todd, uh, you know, things weren't necessarily going his way auditioning. Next thing you know, he writes a script, gets into Cannes and all these film festivals, and now his career's taking off. I
Exactly.
mean, like you just never. There's so many avenues right now. It's not like the old days. Hell, it's not even like it was 5, 10 years ago. Things have
Not
changed so
even,
much.
though, because even you and I, we understand the importance of collaboration.
Oh,
And
totally.
we grew up, I mean, at least most of the people that I admire, when I seek advice, when I listen to their interviews, they all say the same thing, which is like, trust your peers, collaborate with your peers, because the people that you're working with right now, you're all in the same wavelength. Like, you all go up together. And
Yeah,
it's so important to also rely on that, because the people who know you, they understand you, they know your strengths, they know your weaknesses, and
you
they
can't be an island. You can't be an island in this industry. Like it is a team effort, very much so.
indeed, absolutely. um it takes a village. I We just wrapped up the film festival circuit with East Bay Confidential, and
Yes, yes. Tell us more about this, please.
very exciting. It was a wonderful journey. So we're East Bay Confidential is a film noir. We shot it in the Bay Area, and it tells the story of a war veteran that gets trapped in a sex trafficking ring and is framed for murder by a social media influencer slash femme fatale slash me. And
You know.
how dare I? So yeah, we did this in 2023, but the script was kind of long for years. And
Yeah.
it takes so much to make a film, and it takes a village and the right people, and just pushing the story forward. It's such a community that you build as well. If you're lucky, you build a beautiful community, and you're in it for the long run. And it's the relationships that you build also with your castmates, with your crew, with a director, um, that are going to hopefully purdue over life. And so much of that is the way that you work. It is the attention that you put into your craft, the dedication, doing your homework,
Yeah.
um, so that
How
you
do you find the right people? Because I've been criticized being like a little too generous with my time,
okay.
with everyone, right? That's what I've been told by those close to me.
Okay.
Because I love people,
You do
but
love people.
I do love people. So I always like to see the best in everyone. I try to give people chances. But as I get older, especially I have a family, et cetera, like your time becomes more and more valuable, So I'd love to hear from you, like, how, what is like, finding the right people for your tribe, for your community, for you, what does that look like? Who are the type of people that you look for? And how do you manage that in your life?
Absolutely. That's a great question, by the way. Um, I will say it has become easier over the years, but also been very selective since I'm very young, because I don't have a lot of tolerance for nonsense.
Yeah.
And that has a lot. I mean, that's just like my demeanor and my personality. If I don't like you, I don't like you. Please don't force yourself. Like, and I'll be kind, but I also have, just my attitude, my personality. Like if I know, I just really I see right through people, and I can't explain it. I remember my nannies when I was very young, like 7, 8, 9, 10, would always tell my mom this. It's like she's very like sensitive to like people, I've always been just that a child like that, and that honestly that has come together as well as in adulthood. And also just because I moved so much, I lived in so many different states and different countries, I've traveled so much, it's a lot easier to pick up on little cues. And
Mm,
I know when to back away, I know when to engage. Authenticity for me is will prevail over time. I think it's important to find like common ground. But also, I've been
yeah,
very curious. I'm always curious about people because everybody has a different story to tell,
they
and,
do.
and that's what's important for me. Time wise, yes, I'm also very selective with my time because I don't have a lot of it. We all have 24 hours, but I'm also like very passionate about a lot of things. Like I'm passionate about marketing, and I'm passionate about Project Blackbird, a nonprofit for in mental health, in the mental health space. Passionate about like my getting my degree in psychology, and then I also need to make a living. So I think it's so important to
Living,
find
what's that?
what is that? I'm an actor, just pay me.
Yeah, just pay me, people,
um,
please.
but honestly, I mean, it's the same. Like, why do we invest in each other? It's
Right.
like, I know what your values are. I know what you stand for. I know the work that you're doing. I know the work that you've done, and I know what you want to do, and how you carry yourself. And that's why we're friends, because there's there's a lot of common threads in what I find valuable in a person and in their
Yeah.
career. But mostly like who they are.
I have to say for me with you, like, right off the bat, like our first hangout together, it was at it was some coffee shop. I forget where it was. Um,
West.
but it was in the West Village, yes. But like there was a lot of, like I saw a lot of like my younger self in you.
Probably.
Um,
Yeah.
and like a lot of similarities, a lot of drive, a lot of hustle, a lot of fire, and passion, not just for the industry itself, but for as a business, which impressed me the most. But what really solidified on a deeper level our friendship, if I may, earlier this year, I suffered basically a personal tragedy, if you will. I witnessed a work friend of mine, a colleague, pass away, right? Earlier this year, suddenly it was traumatic. It really messed with me. And I don't know. We were talking at one point, and I brought it up, and you were just so caring. You were so there. You'd reach out to me, just even asking how am I doing, et cetera, et cetera. And not to say I didn't have anyone else doing that, but it was like it was a new relationship with you and me, um, that it really meant the world. And you were really there. We talked it out, and I was like, man, this girl, she's really cool. Like I consider her like a friend. Not just like someone I could work with, but like, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I remember. I remember it clearly. And again, I'm sorry you had to witness that. I'm sorry you had to go through that, but it's like I think people are we're so individualized.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not from here, and the way that I was raised is different. Not better, not worse, just different. And um, my community back home is so strong and so like rooted in, hey, how are you? Like, are you okay? What do you need? Very attentive. It has been hard to find that here. I found it, but it's also like it doesn't come as often or as easy. So I'm glad that I was able to be there for you because
No, and yeah, and like I feel like we had some real open, honest conversations about our personal lives that I won't divulge here. But it helped build a stronger bond, and like yeah, they would love to work with you in any type of capacity, and just even having you on here is just awesome. But like yeah, I think it's interesting you say that about being born away from this country, going to other countries, and then coming here. Do you find the relationships here are more transactional than everywhere else?
sadly, and it took me so long to realize it. It took me I already had an understanding because that the we consume Western media, like especially from the US back home. But then being here and being so genuine and also like you, like generous with my time, and then people would just disappear, and I'm just like, what did I do wrong? I don't get it.
Mm,
I'm so confused. I learned this in San Francisco a lot, although I built an incredible community of people. I also did encounter that where I was like, this is so weird. How is it that you spend like 5 months, like, just hanging out with somebody, and then suddenly it's like, if you're not in the same circle, then you're out. It's
yeah.
blew my mind. I didn't really understand it. But also, when I first came to the US, somebody very close to me, he said, people are going to think that you're fake and that you want something from them because you're very nice and you're very kind.
Mm,
I was like, but
okay.
that's who I am. Like, I can't just change because of how people will perceive me. But the truth is that I did need to, I need to not necessarily polish, but also I just had to change a few things.
I don't necessarily know about that though. Like,
It's just become a lot. It has been easier to also like understand like who to talk to, who not to, like who will understand it, but that's also exhausting. Um,
right. It's funny. It's funny you say that though. I remember
I, why?
when I first transitioned, into doing acting, producing full time away from banking. Right. I was working with someone who was a consultant at the time that helped me with that transition and everything. Helped me with the beginning of my career. And one of the advice said, hey, just like start like reaching out to people, like just like you know, like, people from past people in the industry, like like get involved, right? And there was a guy I went to college with, for actually masters, who's doing very well, right? At the time he was doing a radio show on CBS, and I see him doing cool things. I just wonder, just reach out and say, hey man, what's up? Just, happy to see you. You're crushing it. Yeah, yeah. He's like, yeah, yeah, man. So what do you want? Right? He assumed I just wanted something. It was very interesting. And then like when I said, no, man, it's just saying what's up, dude. Just reaching out. And like he was so baffled by that, but like was like touched at the same time. Like we had a good like
Don't
powwow
like
afterwards.
don't like me.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just
yeah.
checking.
Like he was like so thrown off. So like going with what you're saying, like you're being genuine, you're
Yeah.
being nice. Like people are mad because well, what do you want?
Yeah. We want. Yeah. No, absolutely. I totally understand you. Yeah, I went through that with myself, and it's like I'm just like checking on you. Like, let me just talk to you. Tell me how your day was.
Right. But then, so it's funny, fast forward, like actually just only a couple months later after that, I wound up being a guest on the show. So
Don't forget you.
like you never know sometimes though. Like and that wasn't even my intention of why I reached out. Like honest to God, it wasn't. And
I know it wasn't.
it just so happened to be. So you just that's why I say like the advice to get the tweaks things, whatever. I say just be you, girl.
I
Just
know.
be you.
I
You
know.
know, you,
I'm so used to like I'm such a shapeshifter by nature, and it's not that I'm fake. It's just that it's survival. Like
yeah. No.
I'm 30 years old and I've moved 32, I want to say like 32 or 33 times. It's like
What?
it's always like adapting to a new environment, and you learn to okay, it's and this is just biological, right? It's evolutionary, and you just want to fit in to survive. You just need to belong. So there's a lot of things that I had to learn, and a lot of things that I'm now unlearning,
Mhm.
because now I feel a lot safer. It's
So I have a question though. So like wow, 33 places. Like first off, wow, that's amazing. You've lived in more places than you've been alive. That's incredible. But you were talking earlier before about like, you're watching a lot of Western TV growing up. So I'm sure like, these sitcoms, these shows, these movies that you watched as you're growing up, they planted some sort of like, idea of what it must be like to live in America, or to like, be around, like, American people that they get this American dream. How do you feel now as far as like being here in this country, right? Living or doing your thing and looking back on that. Is it the same? Is it different? Is it a letdown? Tell me.
Interesting question. It's, I will say, my dad lived here for 20 years before I was born. So I also grew up with his perspective of living in New Jersey and working in New York. And some things remain, and others, of course, also like the idea that I had was different because I was in mostly a teenager, so and that's where, yeah, I would watch, well, the Jonas Brothers, for example, huge Jonas Brothers. And it's like all I wanted was to like be on Camp Rock, and all I wanted was to like get all the merch, and it's like, oh, Disney Channel. And even when I came here and I was 15, because I came here for my, like, you guys have like the Sweet 16, we have like the
Yeah, yeah,
at
yeah, the
the end of it.
quinceanera. Yeah.
So it's like, and I chose because I have family in New Jersey, so I came to visit, and I would always look at the castings for like Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, and of course I couldn't do it, at the time. Um, but yeah, my idea was, okay, I grew up watching like American Pie and like John Tucker Must Die, you know,
Classics.
classics. And of course it was like, oh, what would it be like to go to college and like, just be with students and wearing the, like cheerleader uniform and all of these things that I got to do, when I moved here, and I go to the football games and the rugby games and all of that. That was very exciting. I did like the I liked some of the individualism because I will say this, it also shaped my ambition. It did it did nourish my ambition. It gave it fuel because things were possible in these films. And back home, as much as I love it, there's a ceiling, and it felt that I had to do
Mm.
things so early on because my mind was somewhere else. My vision was so above what was possible for me back home that I never felt that I fit in. So it was always, and I think anybody that knew me in school could attest to this, because I was not normal. Like, I was,
None of us are normal, girl. Not in this industry.
yeah, no, exactly. And it's so interesting because it was never that I was 15, 14, 15. It was like, oh, I'm gonna continue in theater and make a living out of it. It's like, no. When I brought this up to my mom, she said, well, if this is what you want to do, then you gotta go to Argentina. And I was
Okay.
like, but I don't, I don't want to act in Spanish. And she was like, well, that's how you start. You're gonna start doing commercials. Like, one famous figure back home is Natalia Oreiro, and she started doing like OB commercials. She was telling me this. It's like, yeah, I don't mind that, but I didn't want to act in Spanish because I was studying all of the scripts from the Disney Channel, but they were all in English, and I
Is
was
that how you learned? Oh, you from your dad,
or,
probably,
I
right?
mean, I knew I was going to school, so I was going to a British academy, which was like within my school. Um,
Mhm.
and then I was going to an external academy, which was American English. So I was studying
Got
both.
it.
But yeah, I was like, I know, it just felt more comfortable. Even now, if I speak Spanish, I just feel a lot more vulnerable, and maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I just know that in school was hard, and also like had really bad acne, and it was not a good time. It really wasn't. So I kind of just I drowned in fandoms with like Justin Bieber, the Jonas Brothers, and all of the people that I would know, aside from like my very close group of friends, were outstations, were in like uh, Denmark, were in the US, a lot in the US, and that also helped me because we would do Skype calls.
Yeah.
And then I was on Tumblr, so I was also like a thing on Tumblr, and yeah.
So it's interesting. You talking about like your mom bringing up, hey, the path here is in Argentina, blah blah blah, and like you were so focused on like, no no no, I want to do this. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this in the States. I'm going to do this in English. But now, like looking now, right? I don't know if you follow the trades at all, what's going on. Like, there's a huge emergence in international films, like in
I'm
all
so
these other countries.
at last. First of all, because there's so much talent back home. There's so much talent, and I'm just like, please, everybody, go invest there. Like, go shoot there. Like, go. Like, yes, please. I huge advocate for it. And I'm so happy, and I would love to go shoot something back home. That would mean the absolute world to me. Like, I'll cry. Um, it's
Seeing that, it makes me want it for you so bad right now.
I know, and it's like finally because I haven't even acted in Spanish, and now I want to because it's like oh reconnecting, to my language. Like of course I want that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was a kid, and it's like no, I just wanted. I've always been very ambitious. It's like if I have to go here and like take the baby steps, then I'm like no, I want to get there now. So I think that was
But
also
then, but then your mom be like, I told you.
yeah, and it's so crazy because then I didn't want to do it anymore. It was like, okay, fine, this is something that I cannot do, so I'm just gonna like just pull it away from my head and just move on. And that's when I was like, okay, what am I gonna study? Is it going to be international affairs? Is it going to be become a translator? And then life took me everywhere else and aviation and so forth, which I loved that era for myself. Taught me so much and the discipline, working with also, it was a very male-dominated industry, and I was the only female in my flying club. So that also
That's
taught me a lot about how to
amazing.
carry myself at 19, 20.
At
That was
night, still 20 years old, you being like the only female in the flight academy class. So you can fly, land, you do all those things with the plane.
great. I know. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I remember my first solo flight, how much I cried because I just had this sense of freedom, and I had already gotten hired by Emirates, so I was about to leave home like 2 weeks before that. 2 weeks after that, and yeah, I had just turned 21 then. Yeah,
That's amazing.
but
So
life
di-
changed dramatically.
when when was the last time you've flown? Like, do you miss it?
I sometimes I miss I miss the camaraderie. Like it was such a beautiful. It was a hard. It was a tough time personally, but it was also such a beautiful camaraderie of people who at first they tested me. They were just like, okay, let's see what she's made of. Because
Mhm.
they But then when they started like seeing me, they were like very protective, and
Okay.
they would call me princesa, princess. They would call me princess actually, not even in Spanish. They would call me princess, and they were very very protective and very supportive, extremely supportive. I even took an interview at a different airport, and they flew me to it. They flew
Wow.
to my interview because it was in a different airport. I was in case I didn't make it to Emirates, I was gonna start working for Aerolíneas Argentinas, I think it was. Oh my gosh. So that was like part of my life, it was my life was very exciting. It still
Well,
is.
you say was. I mean, girl, what are you talking about? Your life is exciting.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I just miss a little bit of the community. And yeah, flying is so much fun. I fly whenever I go back home, with one of my good friends, Gonzalo. So yeah, it's
Do you
very fun.
know what I do when I go back home to see my friends?
What do you do?
I I drink. I don't do
Love
anything nearly
that.
as cool as that.
I
Like I
also
don't go
drink.
flying with my
Oh my
friends.
god.
You know what I do when I
I
go back
also
home?
drink with my
I
friends.
just flying with my friends. No big deal.
Yeah, no, but it's so much fun. You have to go back to Punta. You have to go to Punta del Este because you haven't been. But dude, the party scene is insane there. The best parties, like everyone will tell you, it's so much fun. It's
Hey,
so much fun.
listen,
I miss it.
I'm no stranger to South America. I haven't been there, but I've
Yeah, you have to go
Peru.
to Peru. Yeah,
Peru, like it's a big party scene. Anytime I go there, it's my cousin and my aunts just drag me out.
of
Uh,
course, as they
Peace
should.
Day. Yeah, no, it's a scene there, man. I love it. Um, But yeah, no, I mean, going back to the whole international level here, I mean, like, we just talked about very quickly talking about international films, the rise of it right now. Looking at that here, like, so it's no secret. I mean, like, that's one of the things right now that's hurting filmmaking in here in the United States. You see like all these tax credits that these countries have. The United States doesn't have that on a federal level yet. When you came here to seek the opportunity, now you're seeing those opportunities arise in like other countries that you're probably at. Is there like a level of frustration for you? Like, how does that make you feel? Like, I know you said you feel proud, right? But professionally for you, how does that make you feel there?
Well, I'm getting my Spanish passport if that answers your question.
You're like, oh shit, what did I do?
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of people who are passionate enough about what they do to create change. And if these are the cards that we're dealt with, we'll find a way around it. And the opportunities are there for us to take. And sometimes we do have to forge our own path, yes. But things are ever evolving. This is an industry that is ever evolving. I think that, yes, it has hurt us, and we're trying to find the best possible outcome. But in the meantime, what can we do? We just need to also learn to not take over, not take on the weight of the world, which is something that a lot of actors do, because we are sensitive and we are
Yeah.
cats. Some things you cannot control, so you might as well focus on things that you can control.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, I mean, like it's interesting to hear you hear these executives that are talking about it. And on one hand, it's fantastic, right? You have other countries stepping up, leveling up. It's showing different stories that United States not necessarily may be accustomed to. It's fresh storytelling. You're getting new artists that have never been really discovered before, whether it's actor, director, or so forth. So it's fantastic, right? But on the flip side of it is like, man, like working here, it's like it's hard. And then you hear the president of the United States talking about like, imposing these ridiculous tariffs. Um, I don't personally believe that's a solution. Do you? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't either. And I mean, I've seen it with friends and with people who have gotten their grants taken away as well, for their festivals, or like even now just getting it for development for their films. And yes, it does affect a lot of people. It really does. Like, we're not strangers to it as well. And again, like, I am hopeful, but also I'm resourceful.
Yeah.
So
I mean, hell, I mean, look, I mean, you just successfully produced and you acted in a movie right now, feature film. You had your screening. I hate the fact that I missed it. It still hurts my soul that fact that I couldn't go.
okay.
But I
Well,
definitely need to see this. Yeah, we need to. We can talk about that afterwards. But
but again, I think it's so important to find ways to collaborate and putting yourself out there. That I will say, like, um, when I was younger, I was also like thinking about this today. When I was younger, when I was like a teenager, I would always like be on social media a lot more because I would connect with
yeah.
people from other countries. That's also like, again, like the English thing. And I was shy. And honestly, people will not believe me, but I'm actually a little bit shy. I'm as much of an introvert as I am an extrovert, so sometimes I just need to like be left alone, and sometimes I don't like people to see me and this whole thing. So I like being behind the scenes sometimes and let people
You
see
know,
me.
it's funny. So, like, I don't. It's one aspect of me doesn't believe you because of the fact of who you are and how I've seen you. But another part of me is like, that's definitely true because that's the same exact thing for me. Like, if you were to ask people that grew up with me, like, truly knew me when I was a kid, I was the shyest thing in the world. I was so shy. And it was only until like I discovered my love for acting. I started like, coming out of my shell more. And people still to this day do not believe I was a shy kid growing up. So on that aspect we have in common, and that's why I believe you.
We do. I mean, when I was in school, like I would walk with my head like this. I would walk. down the halls like looking down because I didn't want people to see me. I was uncomfortable with my looks, and also I was changing and my hair didn't look this great. So it's like
I love that. You're like, my hair didn't look as great right now.
I love my hair. It's a lot of work, but you
Yeah,
know,
shoot
it's
your shot for sponsorship. What do you use?
there are stars.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
But yeah, I no, look, a lot of I think 2 weeks ago I think somebody asked me, "Do you have any siblings?" I was like, "No, I'm an only child." And he was like, "Oh yeah, the crazy ones, blah blah blah." And
That's
then
nice.
like yeah, it's like in the best way. Like I think yeah, I
Right.
talk to the mirror a lot. I would like talk. I still talk to myself. I really do, which helps a lot to have ideas, to get ideas, and just to keep it moving. But I also really thought about how much I loved acting because then I don't get to be me, you know, and sometimes like I don't want to be myself 24/7. It's tiring and
Oh,
I'd rather
yeah.
find myself in somebody else's story and push that forward and then I don't get to tell myself all the time.
Now that's the beauty of acting. That's what made me fall in love with it, is the fact that like, you do get to put yourself in someone else's shoes. You get to be someone else. You get to discover things. And the beauty, the true beauty of it is like you discover things within yourself that you never knew you had in you.
I know. And I think there's such a misconception for actors. Um it's like yeah, actors are narcissists or like they are professional liars. It's like no, like it's so painful to feel everything all the time in a normal setting that I would much rather have my job be feeling all these things for a purpose other than just pure suffering. Like the highs are very high for us, I believe, but the lows are also
It's
very
so low.
they are
So low.
so low. And we don't really show that. I don't think I've ever done an interview where I've spoken about this and it's it's hard.
It's so hard. Hey, listen, I mean, like, I'm not Jim Carrey level where, like, I'm living in my car, right, when we first started off. But I can imagine, like, nowadays, like, say you had social media during that point, right? What was he gonna do? Take a selfie of him in the backseat of his car, like, because social media is just so fake. But like, it doesn't necessarily show like the real side of the industry. Like, we see the red carpet, we see like, when we book the parts, but you don't necessarily see like, man, like
Great.
I have an audition in like a couple weeks, man. I am hurting right now. My confidence is rocked. I didn't get that part that I really wanted. Sometimes you see people try to spin it, right? But like we've all know, we
People,
know the feeling.
yeah. And also that part, right? Because I mean, I was also talking about it from like sensorial experience of us like feeling so much because like we again, we're empaths. We feel things. Like I watched The Conjuring 2. I watched like the last one, The Last Rite, I think it's called The Conjuring The Last Rite. And I was just crying because it's I would just feel everything. It's a horror film, but everything and I was just like twitching in my seat and our friend and David can attest to this. And then it's the other side which is yeah, the industry side of things where you also have to wear all different hats because it's so hard also for the people who are in charge to see you to really be able to there's so many wonderful talented artists out there. Everybody has their own story to tell.
They do, yeah.
How do you how do you successfully get in front of the people who can actually help you elevate your career to the next level? And I think that for me that has been like my biggest topic as well for the past well I've only been here for about a year and a half, so there's also like a lot of things to learn, but it's not easy because there's so many talented people and different venues. You know this with social media. A lot of people are content creators as well. They want to go the influencer route because they know that they are also able to put up their own videos and create this content. For me, I find it a lot more exhausting, but it's just not my way of doing it. Like
Yeah.
um, I just it was never for me. Um, but yeah, I think like the tough thing for us in the industry, is so much about how do you get seen How do you cut
Right. Right.
noise?
Especially like, again, like, the competition is like leveled up. Gone are the days when you go inside the room for the auditions. Like now it's like it's all self-tapes. So now you're competing with people from all over different parts of the
Yeah.
country, even different parts of the world. Um, then there's like, oh, I could, create my own content on social media, do my own sketches. But now that's so oversaturated, right? So you're competing with so many more people.
It's also the opportunity cost because yes, it's also a lot of time and effort to
Yeah.
go and create your content and put it out there and energy. And it's like for me, I rather put my energy into like vocal coaching or just like playing guitar and or reading a play, little things that it's all about the craft, but the exposure is different. So I think it's a difficult time, I will say that. And
It's difficult that just because it's hard doesn't necessarily mean don't do it. Like I don't want people getting their message here like, oh man, it sounds impossible now more than ever. It is. It's hard,
it's
but
hard.
like
Everything is
it's
hard. Every industry, like
right.
nobody's safe.
Exactly. Do what you love because at the end of the day, hey, me and you, if we didn't love doing this, fuck, I would have been out a long time ago.
Seriously. But we do. And might as well go for it. And I don't want any regrets. Like I know you're the same way, and it
Right.
takes
That's the biggest thing why I did this. That's the biggest thing why I went from banking to do this. Like, I was, God, man, fuck. Today is one of my good friends. It's her birthday, right? She passed away quite a few years ago now because of breast cancer. And it wasn't just her. It was like many different people in my life were passing away. Or like we're having like these horrible things happen to them. And like it was just man, life is so short, right? And I didn't want to die asking what if. I just didn't want to have that question lingering. What if? What if I didn't go for it? So I was like, I'd rather fucking die knowing for sure that I can't than wondering if I can. And like it's been 10 years now and I'm still doing this. So obviously the answer is yes, I can. Is it to the level I want it to be? No, but the journey's still going. We're still rolling, baby.
hard nonstop. I know. I'm sorry about your friend and your friends.
No, but it's not. I didn't say that as woe was me type of deal. Like, I love my friends. Hey, all for you. But like, it's you can't have that lingering question. You have to shoot your shot for whatever your dream is. I think you owe it to yourself to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Even in the times that we're in right now, I mean, you were mentioning self-tapes, for example. And I do think that has made it even more difficult. I understand like how much time it saves because people have jobs, like we all have jobs. And just go into the audition room, but I will say it's so hard for energy. Like if somebody
Oh,
sees my reel, for example, I play a femme fatale, right? So I'm all like I'm sultry and like my demeanor is more manipulative and you know,
are
but
we
I'm also
talking about like what you play or who you are?
no, no, who I play, like my
I'm
acting
joking.
coach, of course. But it's like, but I'm also this, and like, how do you show that? And I think like that has also changed for us because it's not like you go to the audition and they see you in the room and they feel your energy and they feel your presence and they see you.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about it because every time that I talk to directors that I've worked with in the past, or directors that I haven't worked with, they're just like they just need to see you. Like they just like your
Right.
energy is matched. And I wonder what has that been like for you because you were here when in-person auditions were in place.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's different now. Like, as a dad, right? So like
Uh-huh.
well, look this. I mean, like I have the stuff here. Like I pretty much have a makeshift studio down here dedicated to self tapes. But like, so it's good for me in a sense like, hey, I have a daughter. So it would suck for me to do like, go in the city, take that trip over there, just be there for like 5, 10 minutes and have to come back. and like God forbid what's going on, I have to get care for my daughter, blah blah blah. Like it's a lot to think about, right? But like there is a huge aspect of me that misses being in that room. I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss it because of the fact that like I was just talking about it earlier today, funny enough. Like I thrive off direction. Like I thrive. I want it so bad. Just give it to me. Give me the note and I'll go with it. Like, that's one of my greatest skills I could say as an actor is like I can adapt really well. I could take that note, you know. So, I miss that because even like, with casting, and I've been on the other side of the table, auditioning. I believe you have as well. Um,
Like auditioning as in like
as in like a casting director, as in being involved as a producer, being involved in the castings. Like,
I wasn't involved in I mean I am slightly involved in like seeing potential talent for like
got
this
it.
gig, but we're mostly working with a casting agency, so
Well,
no.
hell, I mean, I interned at a casting agency,
Okay.
so like I know for a fact, like even if the actor delivers exactly what they were looking for, like certain casting directors sometimes they'll throw a note at you just to see if you can take a note. Like hey, try it like this, even though they nailed it, even though the person nailed it the first take, right? Like let's see if you take a note. Like hey, do it like this, and it's amazing how many people can't.
Really?
They,
I
it's a
never I know it, but I don't know like I haven't really talked about this. So
So I'd be curious to talk to like and see, like because I've been hearing stories lately and I don't necessarily know how true they are, but like I would be curious to really know because I've been hearing stories about like people like nailing the audition, right? And the self-tape. Right? And like no one knows how many takes it took, right? Like it could have been their 45th take.
yeah.
But like for whatever like on the day, that actor that booked it couldn't do it. Couldn't do it because like they're messing with their lines. It was becoming too many takes, losing money, et cetera, et cetera. And that person becomes persona non grata, you know? Like how many times are we seeing that right now as a result of the self-tape? How many of these actors that are booking from a self-tape can't take a note? I'm wondering how much of that are we seeing on set right now?
Even I remember like the even for this for East Bay, because I had read for a different role, then they were like, "Hey, we want you to read for Marie," and I did, but it wasn't that I recorded my self tape. It was like, "Oh, can you?" It was like a live audition, you
I
know.
love live auditions. Yeah.
So yeah, it was over Zoom, but great. They gave me the direction and I took it.
Mhm.
When you send a self tape, are they really gonna take the time to be like, "Hey, can you please send us another tape where you do it this way?"
I had that happen recently actually for me. The casting director was like really rooting for me. Um, but like they wanted it really, really fast to turnaround time. I'm not gonna name the production. I don't want to spoil anything there, but like it was one of these projects. Like they had no choice but to move crazy fast, right? So like I had a tape that was due like on a Tuesday, so I had a few days. But they're like, hey, like the casting director wanted my tape like ASAP, like that day. Like, we got the notice. I'm like, whoa, what? So like I was out and about, so I had to do it in like freaking some office, some dude's office, like with the stage. There was no lighting whatsoever, really. Um, I did it with my manager over Zoom, like he was recording it, and they loved it. They actually loved it. I couldn't believe it, right? And it got up to the higher ups, but they wanted me to do it again, but with better lighting and a better setup. So like if you only waited a couple of days, you would have gotten
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. It's a good thing though, because I think that's another important topic. Having the right people root for you, and especially the ones who can get you in the rooms.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in a women's summit when I was, just business wise, and they were talking about the importance of your sponsors, the people who will talk about you when you don't have access.
Oh, yes.
These people are instrumental in what they can do for your career, even if they don't get anything out of it. Like it's so important. Like if they're talented, if they're capable, if they're great to work with, if they are bringing something meaningful, like why wouldn't you open that door for them? I think that's so important. And
Right.
that's what you're saying that your manager is doing too. I mean, it's their job, but also
It's no, well,
so many people in the
I,
roster that's like, are they really gonna
I
approve?
I have heard stories about managers, man. Let me tell you, you're right. It is their job, a good manager's job. But I have heard horror stories with managers before in the past. I am blessed to say I'm with a really good one. I love that dude. I've been with him for 10 years now. I consider him a friend, and I think he would say the same about me. Actually, he just called me that he's a big football fan, just like me. So
Yeah,
we,
I
we
remember
actually
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he called me last Sunday. We would just be asking about football. Great guy, but man, he's been around the block for a really long time, and that dude fights for me. He fights for me, and I know it. And I'm one of the real lucky ones to have a rep that would do that. And it's so true what you're talking about. It all comes full circle back to what we were talking about, just having the right people uh, in your circle. And hey, if that circle is small, then so be it. Like
So be it. Quality,
the
quality.
right quality over quantity. I've learned that over time. Like I think in my early days when I was a young buck, I just want to be surrounded by as many people as possible, right?
That's ego.
But
It's we'll have
but like you tend to realize like, hey, the larger your circle really is, are they really all that special to you? Do they consider you the same way? And there's definitely gonna be some bad eggs in there, the more people you allow. And I've I'm I've gotten rid of some toxic people in my life, especially now more than ever. I have like a one strike rule. I hate to say, but like I need to protect that space from my daughter. I no negative energy. And I'm lucky to say I'm surrounded just by really, really good people who I love and admire and I respect. And I feel the same about me.
good.
And you're
Good.
one of them, Marcia. You are one of them.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Girl, I can talk to you all day. There's definitely some things here that I want to talk to you about that I feel like we can. I know you, I feel like we're at past time. You had a hard out, and I feel like we're past that time right now. So I
Yeah,
feel bad.
that's okay with me.
We'll definitely have to have you back on.
Okay.
That's a fact. I love you, girl.
You
I know,
too.
I know I'm seeing you very, very soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, the lovely, the tenacious Marcia Lopez.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you so much for having me, Mark. Much love to you.
Yeah, I love that girl. Like, we didn't even get to remotely any of some of the things I wanted to talk to her about. One of which is the business mindset, right? And just from this interview, I think you can tell that she has it, right? We talked a lot about community and building relationships. And, I think any successful business person will tell you that, that goes a long way. You cannot be an island. You cannot just think that you can be a jack of all trades and do everything yourself. And like the same goes for acting and for filmmaking. It takes a team. It takes a team of people that you can trust, that you can rely on, and really just more than that, man, like for the support. Because no matter what aspect of this career, this industry that you're in, it can get hard. It can get so hard, especially right now. And having the right people around you, like not necessarily just to work, right? Not necessarily just like oh, like this person's doing this, like if I'm friends with them, they could pull me in, and I could succeed too. No, 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 it's not that. It can help you, but like what's more meaningful and impactful is forming that bond, that relationship, that true genuine friendship that you can get along during these hard days, right? When you got long hours on set, a shitty film that you didn't want to do, but you're doing for the money, or the fact that you didn't book the part, or your part got cut in the film or the TV show, or whatever. Whatever's happening right now, where the industry sucks, where you think about quitting, or maybe something personal happened, right? No one really understands this industry better than someone inside it, right? Like you can be in a relationship with someone outside this industry and they can understand it to a degree and sympathize with you, but no one truly understands 100% as opposed to someone who's already in it with you. And those relationships are so, so valuable. If you could find a true friendship in this industry, man, that's a keeper right there. But thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. For this is what, episode 7 now. I'm losing track already. I'm up, I'm not even up to 10 yet. I know that for a fact. But listen, the love and support you've given me, the fact that you're listening and tuning in, getting some messages about it, and it means a lot. So let's keep this thing going. Like, share, spread the love, and let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Meantime, this is Marc Chouen. This is Beyond the Take. Cheers, everyone.